An exhaust for your 2022 or newer Toyota Tundra, excluding the hybrid model, will make a great difference in the presence of your truck, and this Flowmaster FlowFX dual side exit exhaust system with the black tips will do just that. Now this will be specifically for the Tundra owners looking for a moderate volume increase to hear the turbo spool a little bit better and a more aggressive tone out of the 3.4 liter without sacrificing any comfortability inside the cab if you're daily driving or simply if you just drive your truck very often. Now for that reason, this is going to get a 3 out of 5 on the loudness meter, with 1 being stock and 5 being wake the neighbors loud, which is a solid sound level that's going to make for a quiet cab environment while you're cruising and a throaty tone throughout the RPMs. Now the main takeaway of this system is the sound, which is going to add a lot of character to the exterior of the truck, with a low toned rev, extra turbo noise from underneath the hood, and the volume will increase to become more aggressive while getting into those higher RPM ranges. Now while this will have a moderate volume level to the exterior, the interior will be much quieter thanks to the FlowFX sound profile. Now it won't be completely silent, considering that even with the stock exhaust, you do still hear it inside the cab when you're on the throttle, so you can expect that with an upgrade in the sound quality, in addition to a minimal amount of noise while cruising at a low RPM, very minimal again, which is going to make it very comfortable. Now along with the sound, this will have a much more dynamic look with the dual side exit and large black tips compared to the simple and very unappealing factory system, adding a lot of personality to the appearance and matching with other darker accents on the truck. This will have a 2.5-inch dual mandrel bent pipe design, all made of a 409 stainless steel, being right in the middle, with materials with good rust resistance, while also saving you some cash compared to some of those higher grain stainless options. Now on the back, this will also have a 4.5-inch black ceramic coated tip on either side, with rolled edges for a super clean and finished appearance compared to the factory piping, and those are going to be made of a higher grade rust resistant 304 stainless to ensure a good look over time, even in the toughest of climates. Now the system will also come with factory located hangers, in addition to all of the clamps and hardware that you need to make this a bolt-on install with no modifications or welding required. This will come in right around $1,050, which will be relatively in the middle of the spectrum when it comes to comparing it to other choices in the category. Now this will have more to the system when it comes to the design, considering the front to back dual side exit construction, but will save you a few bucks simply because of the fact that this will have a 409 stainless steel build, which won't be invincible to rust forever, but will still hold up very well over time. Now it's also mid-range on volume compared to other high or low volume systems if you want to balance between the two, making it an all-around great choice if you're looking for a good compromise of features in a quality exhaust system. Install will be a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter and take about 2 hours or so to get the job done. However, at this point, we can head over to our shop and check out a detailed breakdown on how you can get this installed onto your Tundra at home. So that's gonna wrap it up for my review. Let's go ahead and get into the install.
Tools required for this install include an impact gun, an exhaust hanger remover tool, 14 and 15 millimeter wrenches, a 13 millimeter ratcheting wrench, an extension, swivel adapter, 14 and 15 millimeter sockets, and a flexible magnet. What's up guys? Today we're installing an exhaust on our Tundra. First we're going to watch a quick uninstall video showing you how to remove your factory exhaust, and then I'll meet you back here for the install.
Alright guys, for the first step of the uninstall, we're going to grab a 14 millimeter socket, a swivel socket, and an extension, and we're going to remove these 2 nuts. Next, we'll grab a hanger removal tool. We're going to remove this hanger out of the isolator. Now we can let this hang. We're going to go up to our middle isolator and we're going to remove that over there. Now I'm going to have one hand holding on to the exhaust and the other to remove this isolator. Once that's popped out of place, we could slide our tube out of these studs. And we're gonna snake this out over the axle. And now we can snake our pipe over our axle. Just gonna snake it out. Now we can move on to the front part of the pipe. So now I have my 14mm socket, swivel socket, and extension, and we're gonna remove these two bolts out of the flange. Now we're gonna move over to the other side and do that same thing. Next, we'll be removing these two hangers. I have my pole jack to hold up the exhaust. So now I have my exhaust hanger removal. We're gonna remove these hangers. Now we have one more in the back, and then once that's done, our exhaust will be removed. Now using that same tool, we're gonna remove our last hanger. Make sure you hold up the end of the exhaust. Now I'm going to lower down my pole jack. Move it out of the way. Now we can remove.
So now with our factory exhaust removed, we're gonna start with our front pipes here. So I'm just gonna raise these up to the flange on our cats, reinstall our factory spring bolts, and I'm just gonna leave them hand tight for now until we get our muffler on so we can have our exhaust in hangers and get it all straightened down before we tighten it. And now once we have both those bolts threaded in, we're gonna do that same thing on the other side. Now on the driver's side here, we also have a nut on the back of that spring bolt. So raise that up into place and slide your bolt through. And then do the same thing on the other side of that flange. And then once you have that nut threaded on the other side, same thing, we're gonna leave this loose until we get it supported by the hanger. Now next, depending on your cab, bed, and wheelbase configuration, you might have to use these extension pipes, you might need to cut them, or you might not use them at all. For our scenario, we have a CrewMax with a 5.5 foot bed, so we're not gonna be using these extension pipes. We're just gonna move on to our muffler. Next, we're gonna install our muffler. I'm gonna get those rods into our two rubber isolators first, and then I can connect my front pipes to the muffler. I'm gonna take two of our clamps and slide them onto the front pipes for now. And then raise your muffler up and slide it into your hangers. And then just keep pushing it into your isolators until you have enough clearance to get your pipes in. And then you can start moving your muffler back to slip over those pipes. Next, you can go back to your clamps and slide them over the edge of the muffler inlet and take a 15mm socket to tighten it down. Now that our exhaust is supported by the hangers, we can go back to our front flanges and take a 14mm socket to tighten those bolts up. I'm just gonna go back and forth to tighten that flange down evenly. And then on the other side here, you're gonna need a 15mm wrench on the nut side. So next we're gonna install our over axle pipes. I'm gonna start with the driver's side here since the passenger side overlaps the driver's side pipe, so you're not gonna have as much clearance to get the driver in if you do the passenger first. So slide one of your clamps over the muffler outlet and then get your pipe going over the axle and then put it into that isolator. And then slide that into your muffler outlet. And then just get your clamp in place and grab a 15mm socket to tighten it down. Now before we install the passenger side over axle pipe, I'm going to grab an exhaust hanger remover tool and pop this isolator off. Just going to make it a little bit easier for us. We can slip it on once that pipe's in place. So now we're going to come back to the muffler outlet and get our clamp on the other side. And then we're going to fish our pipe over the axle. And you're just going to have to kind of rotate it around until you can get it into the muffler outlet. So now I'm going to go back and reinstall that rubber isolator. So now we'll go back to that muffler outlet and slide our other clamp into place and tighten it down with a 15mm socket. So now we're going to get this driver side over axle pipe in place. I'm going to remove this rubber isolator once again just to make it a little bit easier. So grab an exhaust hanger remover tool to pop that off. And then grab your pipe, slide your clamp over the edge, and then connect that up. And then you can slide your isolator back on. And now before we tighten that clamp down, we're going to get our passenger side crossover pipe in place. Slide your clamp on and then connect your pipe. So now since from the factory this is a single exit exhaust on the driver's side, we are going to need to add a hanger to the passenger side. We're going to do it right next to the spare tire, kind of in between the spare tire and the rear tire on the passenger side. You have a little access hole in the outside of the frame rail where you can get your bolt and flat washer. I'm going to take a magnet that's flexible and put it on the bolt head, and that'll also hold the washer. And I'm just going to kind of angle this through the hole in the frame. And then drop that through. And now I'm just gonna kind of unbend my magnet so that it'll hold against the tire here. And then you can grab that hanger and slide it onto the rod on the exhaust. So now with our bolt in place, we're gonna raise our hanger up onto that bolt. You're gonna be using the hole closer to the rubber isolator. And then just get a flat washer, a lock washer, and a nut on there and thread it on. And I'm gonna grab a 13mm ratcheting wrench to tighten that down. And now we can go back and tighten down our 2 clamps. I'm using a long extension with a swivel adapter and a 15mm socket to get to these. So now we just need to add our 90-degree pipe to put our tips out the side. So grab a clamp, slide it over, slide that pipe on. And then before I tighten that down, I'm just gonna slide my tip on there so I can get it adjusted how I want it. And that's looking pretty good right there. So then I'll take my 15mm socket and tighten down my clamp. And then you can adjust your tip to have as much or as little poke as you'd like. I'm probably gonna put it right about here. And then you're just gonna take a 14mm socket and wrench to tighten down your tip. And then you can do that exact same thing on the other side. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Flowmaster Flow Effects dual exhaust system with black tips, side exit for your 2022 and newer Tundra, excluding hybrid. Thank you for watching, and for all things Tundra, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.